We'll go ahead and get started with our program. I do want to recognize some of our school board members who are here today. We have Chairman Chuck Francis in the back there, Vice Chairman Jim Harley Francis over here, Jimmy Rogers, and Ronnie Clark. Thank you guys for coming. I also want to thank the ITC department for helping, Kim and Brian and Ben and Teresa, Todd, for helping with the video and getting this all set up for us to be able to have the luncheon today. And I want to thank our assistants from Central Office who, without them, we definitely couldn't do this. So thank you to Julie, Cindy, Margaret, and Laurel. I would like for our selection committee to come up so we can recognize them, because they put a lot of time into the visits and the interviews, and then outside of those 2 days, even more time reading through the portfolios and scoring them. So they've taken their time, volunteered their time to do this, and we're so grateful for them. So Lisa Brown, Nanette Renegar, Jason Hines, I don't think Miss Barrett is here, but Ann Barrett from the school board, Noel Castater, Sean Paris, and Elisa Glantz. Do any of you want to say anything about the process? Are you good? I always like to ask if they want to say anything about the process, but most of the time they don't. But it's but I always like to leave that opportunity open. But thank you guys so much for all the time and effort that you put into this. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you. If you just want to stay up, or you want to stay up? Now it's my pleasure to recognize our 2016-17 Teacher of the Year, Miss Nanette Renegar. She has represented us so well, and we are so lucky to have her here in Haywood County, and we appreciate all that you do, so thank you very, very much.
So God really used Haywood County to bless our family. We had just lost my parents a year before we moved here, and when we got here, we just knew the beauty of the people in the area were just what he used to just bless us and take care of us. So anyway, on that transition time, you have a lot of time of contemplation, and you're thinking about the things, in your life that matter. And I made myself some promises. And one of the biggest promises was that I was going to make every effort to tell people how grateful I was for them and the things that they did for me and the investments that they made in me. And so I just have to tell you, this has been the most exciting experience, going and seeing teachers and watching them in their element and hearing your heart. You guys have amazing hearts, and I was just blown away. So I couldn't sleep for 4 nights just because I was so excited about the things that I learned from you and watching you, and I couldn't even stop talking about it. My family was like, okay. But it was just amazing. So thank you for letting me in your classroom, and thank you for sharing your heart for education with me, and thank you for sharing your students with me. And I loved your portfolios. I read them over and over and over because I feel like that fanned the flame of just excitement about education. For me, I just walked away on cloud 9, and I still am there because of you guys. You're just amazing. You're absolutely amazing. So Amy left us last year with one to grow on. And so I thought, what would be my one thing to grow on that I could share? And it just was really evident. I read a book, 1,000 Gifts, this summer, and just talked about all of the things that you are grateful for, and that life is a gift, So every day is a complete gift. And I know that sometimes we get a little distracted. We get tired or we get worn down or we're so worried about our students and their families and what they're going through and, are they going to grow and are they okay? And were they okay last night? Did they eat? Those kinds of things. And so this book kind of helped me refocus. So I started keeping a list of 3 things each day that I could be grateful for, those treasures, those things that are really special. And in the book, it talks about how those things are good to keep a focus on, like when you're really tired, sometimes we have to create our own sunshine. So, when you're really tired or when you're going through those tough times, just keeping a little record in a journal each night. And so I kept 3, but then, as you know, once we start thinking about those 3 things, they just keep adding and adding, and you just fill up the pages, and it just comes back. Anyway, so I wanted to tell you how grateful I am for you. You're all through my journal. I have it over there, but it's just your names are there, and all the things that you spoke to me and all the things you shared with me, they're all in that journal. But I have a gift for you because I thought maybe you might want to take the challenge as well. So in the back table, there are all kinds of journals, and I hope you'll find one that you like. There's also, I have cards for you guys as well. But I just hope that you have like the best school year ever. I hope it's your favorite year yet. And I just want to leave you with some things that researchers say about being grateful. So they say that those that keep a grateful journal feel better about their lives as a whole and were optimistic about their future. They were a full 25% happier than other participants. They sleep half an hour more each evening and exercise 33%. And they felt more joyful, enthusiastic, interested, attentive, energetic, excited, determined, and strong. So this is what I wish for your year. I wish you more joy, more enthusiasm, more interest and attentive to your families and to your friends and to your students and their families, and more excitement, that you're more determined, and I don't know how that could happen because you're just absolutely amazing and determined already, and strong. So anyway, I love you all. Thank you for sharing your classrooms with me.
Thank you, Nanette. Now I'm going to recognize Dr. Garrett, who will recognize our Principal of the Year.
It's a pleasure to recognize the 2017-2018 Principal of the Year, Mrs. Shawn Paris. Mrs. Paris is a 2-time graduate of Western Carolina University, where she completed both undergraduate and graduate degrees. Mrs. Paris has been a substitute teacher, a teacher assistant, and a school secretary. She's taught grades 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and she was a reading teacher for grades 4 through 7. She's worked at Bridgeport Elementary in Tennessee and Jonathan Valley Elementary in Haywood County. Shawn served as assistant principal at Pisgah High School for 3 years, and she's been principal at Bethel Middle for 4 years. She's very visible on her campus, and she attends numerous school activities. You always see her in the stands on football night, on the baseball and softball fields, in the gym during the basketball games, and she even attends the Sportsman's Club events. This is what someone said about her. She's a honey of a principal, and you better not say anything bad about my Bethel principal. Jeff Haney, former principal at Haywood Early College, was actually registering students, and a parent said that to him about Mrs. Paris. She's always professional, always happy, and always upbeat. Shawn Paris, simply put, is an outstanding principal, Bill Nolte, Associate Superintendent, said. She knows curriculum, manages the operation of the school well, and works collaboratively with her staff and community to produce high performance among students in academic and extracurricular activities. "It's a pleasure to work with Mrs. Paris," said Trevor Putnam, principal at Waynesville Middle School. "She's a great administrator, and she's a good person. I feel very privileged to have her as my daughter's principal. She's truly there for the kids and is always seeking ways to improve her school." Todd Barbie, principal at Canton Middle School, said, "Shawn is a great sport. Shawn is a trusting soul. She trusts her teachers to do what is best for our kids and to get them ready to be successful. Then she gets out of the way. I present to you Mrs. Shawn Paris, Haywood County's 2017-2018 Principal of the Year."
I'm feeling so many emotions right now. Honored to be selected as Haywood County's Principal of the Year. Grateful that I'm in this room full of co-workers who are always available for advice and encouragement. Blessed to have a school family that believes their role is to love kids each and every day as if they were their own child. Humbled that Dr. Garrett, Dr. Nolte, and the school board had enough confidence in me to allow me to go back to the school where my entire family once attended. Many of you may not be aware of the history I have with the Bethel community, so let me take a minute and share that with you and why being a principal at Bethel Middle is such an honor to me. My family has had the opportunity to be a part of the Bethel community for many years. For example, my dad was on the very first football team at Bethel High School, and he loved to tell me the story how he scored the very first touchdown. Of course, it helped that his brother was the quarterback. My mom was also a part of the annual, the May Day celebration, and she was crowned May Day Queen. Some of my favorite photos are those black and white pictures and the kids going around the maypole. And then I walked down the same halls that my grandfather was once the custodian of that school and cared for. And those memories are just something I cherish and that I keep getting to relive. When I reflect on all those wonderful moments, I realize that the threads that weave so much of my past together are the result of Haywood County Schools and the wonderful teachers that have been a part of my past and my present. And that's why I'm so inspired by all the teachers I got to meet this past week. Okay, this is the part where I have to make a confession. I might have hinted around just a little bit to your teachers of the year that they are always welcome to come work at Bethel Middle. I might have even texted a few principals that I was after their prize staff member. Mr. Hines, where's Mr. Hines at? He did remind me that it was not a recruiting opportunity. But to our teachers of the year, just in case the committee and I didn't make ourselves clear to you before you left, guys, you are fascinating, just wonderful teachers that are dynamic and just truly authentic. And really, y'all are just something to be put up on a high, high stool. Your encouraging way is your badge. Your positive attitude is your logo. How you leave your students feeling after a lesson with you becomes your trademark. I asked our teachers during the interview to relate themselves and their teaching style to a candy bar. They all looked at me like I was maybe a little crazy, and I am. But, Vanna, will you help me? Do you want us? Oh, I'm sorry, going. Do you want to walk everything? You might have to get help. Okay, teachers, when I mention your candy bar, if you would raise your hand, but you can get the idea here. We had 7 Snickers. who had listed things like the nuts being their fun and laughable side, the nougat being their soft, caring side, the caramel being the glue that holds the kids together, and the outside chocolate was the sweet, smooth part of them. When you look at the outside of a Snickers, it looks simple, but once you bite into it, you see how complex it is. Just like the planning that goes into teaching that's never seen by many. We have a Mr. Goodbar. Where's my Mr. Goodbar? Mr. Goodbar was selected, and the description was nutty and a little bit sweet, which combined often gets a good response from students. We had a Reese cup, and there was a last name comparison, Reese's for the Reese's, because she puts a whole lot of herself into her teaching. Almond Joy, another nut reference to being funny. The chocolate being the methodic solid side, and the coconut being the interested middle, like the interest she wants to have in her lessons. Twix, the solid core being the rigor in the core academics, and the caramel and chocolate combining just like her traits of kindness, sweetness, compassion, and fun. Whatchamacallit. Chocolate, the basic fundamentals being taught. The crispy part is the surprise in the class when she mixes instruction up. Peanut butter, her nutty side, and caramel being her soft side because she loves her students. Take 5. It has many parts that combine to be successful. We had 2 teachers who did not see themselves as candy bars. Can you imagine that? One chose nerds because he sees himself as a lifelong learner who reads all the time, challenges his students, and keeps an open mind. And lastly, we have Skittles. The colors represent all the different students the teacher teaches and does her best to relate to all of them. She doesn't take herself seriously, and she loves all her students because they are who they are. I asked our teachers these questions so they had the opportunity to say something positive about themselves without the fear that someone would think they were bragging about themselves. As candy bars, they would make the best ever Christmas stocking or Easter basket. But lucky for us, as teachers, they make the best instructional leaders for our county. I'll end with this observation from the Teacher of the Year interviews, portfolios, and visits. In this school system, we do exploration. We rejoice in a new day. We support one another. We make goals. We encourage others to be authentic and genuine. We refuse to settle for good. In every school, we build a community. Because in this school system, we have teachers who are real-life superheroes. Thank you for being those teachers. As Principal of the Year, I am honored to have met each one of you. I appreciate you opening up your classrooms and your hearts. And I am thankful that every day students walk into your room and have the opportunity to be there, to be loved and taught and inspired by you. Thank you for what you do.
Now we will recognize each of our Teachers of the Year. Mr. Francis, Chairman Francis, Dr. Garrett.
I'd just like to say that I am so proud and thankful for all the work that all the teachers do for our county, and very grateful for what you do for our kids in this county. So thank you. We have wonderful, wonderful teachers here that work for us, so thank you again. First, I'd like to introduce from Bethel Elementary, Meredith Allen. Oh, and you will get your picture made up here, so take just a second. Pose. Look pretty. Smile. Next, from Bethel Elementary, Ron Hunley. Bethel Middle, excuse me, Bethel Middle. Next, we have from Canton Middle, Amy Tiller. From Central Haywood High, Robert Allison. From Clyde Elementary, Megan Wantz. From Haywood Early College, Beth Hooper. Hazelwood Elementary, Susan Colley. Jonathan Valley Elementary, Elizabeth Reese. Junaluska Elementary, Christy Blackburn. Meadowbrook Elementary, Nicole Foster. North Canton Elementary, Michelle Burris. Pisgah High, Timothy Shepard. Riverbend Elementary, Nikki Barker. Tuscola High, Dawn William Tosh. And from Waynesville Middle, William Yates.
Now we're going to recognize our runners-up from each of the school levels. For our middle school, for runner-up, that is Ron Hunley. And our high school runner-up, Dawn Williams Tosh. And now Dr. Garrett will introduce our Teacher of the Year.
Teachers of the Year, I'm very proud of each of you, and I thank you on behalf of our students in Haywood County for being the outstanding teachers that you are. It's truly an honor and a privilege to recognize you today. The 2017-2018 Haywood County Teacher of the Year attended Appalachian State University and is currently taking classes at Gardner-Webb University. Our Teacher of the Year has taught first, second, third, fourth, RTI, and special education during the last 17 years. I would like to quote from their portfolio. There were many factors that influenced my decision to become a teacher, but the most prominent reasons were the legacy of educators in my family. I grew up in a family of teachers. My grandmother, 2 great aunts, my mom, and 2 aunts were teachers. My great-grandfather became a single parent of 8 children when the youngest child was only 5, so life wasn't easy. In those days, farming was what everyone did, and not everyone went to college. That wasn't the case in my family because my great-grandfather put all 8 children through Appalachian State University, and many of them became educators. Our Teacher of the Year loves teaching and gives 110% to teaching children and working to improve their lives. My greatest contributions and accomplishments have been improving the lives of my students through learning. Telling my own stories is my way of continuing the legacy of the importance of learning and getting an education. I am thankful for those educators in my past, and I look forward to continuing to become more and more effective and support more students in their quest for education. In closing, our Teacher of the Year stated, "The idea that there are students who think they can't read or aren't smart with numbers at such an early age makes my heart heavy. We must teach as if their lives depend on it, because it does." I present to you the 2017-2018 Haywood County Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Christy Blackburn, Special Education Teacher at Junaluska Elementary School.
They always say you should take Kleenexes. I'm overwhelmed and very excited and thankful and especially honored. In such a room full of educators and my past and my history and my coworkers, I wouldn't be here without all of those people, and I feel honored to be Haywood County's Teacher of the Year. So thank you all so very much.
Before we close, I just want to have a few reminders that we will have a group picture out back here for all the Teachers of the Year, so make sure you make your way out there for a group picture. Thank you guys for coming, and thank you all, principals, teachers, administrators, family members, everyone. Thank you for all that you do for Haywood County Schools. Thank you.